Can I manipulate the URL parameters using a browser extension? I am not sure if this is the appropriate forum for this topic, but is technical and nothing to do with programming. At the end of some URL that is linked from other sites, some parameters are added. Like UTM_campaign equals socialflow_lifehacker_Facebook and AMP, UTM_source equals lifehacker_Facebook and AMP, UTM_medium equals socialflow. What is this called? I am familiar with parameters that actually affect output of the page, like language or useRead being passed from the previous page. These things do not in any way affect the output. Is it possible to sanitize these extra stuffs? What would be the search terms I can use? My search for manipulate URL parameters in browser has been a dead end.
You can indeed manipulate URLs, or including parameters, using a browser extension, provided you request the right permissions. Manipulating them after navigation would be somewhat pointless, the point of those parameters being to track referrals across the web, but you could either modify the URLs on web pages prior to clicking them, this is pretty easy but would not work for script-initiated navigation, or create an extension that filters navigation requests, was somewhat like how ad blocking works, and modify the outbound requests so the server never sees those query string elements.
What is this called? The entire piece of the URL, including the question mark, is called the query string. It can be removed like this. I am familiar with parameters that actually affect output of the page, like language or user ID being passed from the previous page. These things do not in any way affect the output. In your example, these are all tracking parameters used by Google Analytics. They are used to track where users came from when they reach a site. The destination site must have GA JavaScript code embedded in the site to make use of these. It is possible for the site to use the parameters to modify what the user sees, show different content based on where the user came from, for example. But this is unusual. Is it possible to sanitize these extra stuffs? Looking for specific parameters and trying to strip those from the URL before the request is sent could be annoying to maintain if they change, but definitely possible. The better option might be to just block Google Analytics like the various ad blocker extensions already do, or use the Brave browser smiley face. What would be the search terms I can use? Hopefully everything above gives you the info you need to proceed. No.
These are UTM parameters. They are typically used for analytics, e.g., tracking where the user is coming from. It should be possible for browser extensions to remove these UTM parameters before you send the request to the server, so the tracking doesn't work. After a quick search, I found the following extensions, but I have no experience with them, and I didn't verify if they are stripping the parameters before the server is hit. There are likely more. Search for remove UTM parameters. Chromium Chrome. Tracking token stripper, source code. Removes those tokens from the URL before the destination site is visited. Requestly, step-by-step guide to remove UTM parameters in Requestly. Firefox. Link cleaner, source code, removes the parameters from hyperlinks, so it probably doesn't work if you copy-paste a URL with the parameters. AURivoire UTM, source code, seems to remove them after the page is loaded, so it doesn't prevent the tracking. Pure URL, its description doesn't say if it works before or after loading the page. Requestly, step-by-step guide to remove UTM parameters in Requestly.
Marketers add UTM parameters like UTM_campaign, UTM_medium, and UTM_source to shared URLs for tracking. You can use a Chrome extension, like Requestly, which makes it incredibly easy to configure a rule that removes these parameters from all URLs.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.